Thank you, thank you. It's good to be back. Welcome back to IELTS Face Off. How you guys doing? I'm fantastic, and today I would like to talk to you about a particularly extraordinary woman. I'm sure you guys know the name Nguyễn Thị Định. And Nguyễn Thị Định is it's a big deal. She's one of the luminaries of Vietnamese military history. She was the first female general in Vietnam. She commanded the famous long-haired army and commandeered many strategic locations that helped Vietnam secure important wins that ultimately culminated in our 1975 triumph. And she hailed from Bến Tre, which is the location our IELTS on the Go host is going to head to today following his previous adventure in Vĩnh Long. Now, in addition to illustrious men and women, Bến Tre is also known for many locally grown delicacies, one of which is the green skin pomelo. And in this episode, we're going to delve deep into the growing process, the harvesting, and why pomelo is such a prized export from Bến Tre province. So let's follow along Thiện Khiêm and Elsa, the unique artificial intelligence app that helps you practice your English pronunciation 24/7. Let's go.
Hi guys, it's me Thiện Khiêm and this is another episode of IELTS on the Go. Here I am surrounded by the serenity and greenery of Bến Tre province. When talking about Bến Tre, the first thing that pops up into your mind is probably coconut, right? But this province has a lot more to be discovered, and I am so honored to have with me a very beautiful guest today. Please
Hello.
welcome chị Vi.
Hello.
Hi chị. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Vi. I'm from the Bến Tre province.
So, what do you do?
I met the tour guide in the Bến
you're a
Tre.
tour guide. You're a tour guide. So your English must be very good, right? So when did you start learning English?
I learned English at the local school, and when I finished the university English at Ho Chi Minh City, I go back here. I met the tour guide, and I learn English from the gate.
At that very young age, did you have any difficulties learning English?
Before, when I learn English at the local school, only reading, only listen. And so when I met the tour guide, some guests ask me, I don't understand. Yeah, and so a long time I make the tour guide, I learn English more from the guest.
So that's been a very long journey, and you never stop practicing, right? And so over the course of being a tour guide for a very long time, do you have any specific and memorable experience?
Yes. The first time when I make the tour guide, when I see the people, when I see the guest, oh, I really don't happy because I think when the guest ask me, what happened? What happened? We are I don't ask we get, and when the guest say here, I go. And it's a long time. When I make the tour guide, the time I training for listen and I training for speaking, and but sometimes I meet many guests from the many country. So some guests from the friend or from a different country for speaking English. Some get say I don't understand.
So do you have any tips to become more confident in English, just like you?
Because the people when they say English, I think you speaking every day. Yeah, speak every day, and we are visit with the guest every day, and some get. Yes, I overnight in Bến Tre because I met the tour guide. I have the homestay in Bến Tre, and I speak usually speak with the guest. And sometimes you can listen by a book or from internet or something.
So guys, get to talk to your foreigners in your place as much as possible, and don't be afraid to be wrong, because practice makes perfect, right? So where are you taking me today?
So today I show you the fresh fruit garden in Bến Tre. You know, the Bến Tre we have a lot of coconut tree, but beside that we have the fresh fruit tree. The fresh fruit tree, that means the fresh fruit in Bến Tre. Now we are visit the fresh fruit garden.
Yeah, let's go.
Follow me. So you know, the local people in Bến Tre, they are from a lot of coconut tree. About 70% they are from the coconut. Besides that, they are from the fresh fruit like this. The fresh fruit, they bring the specialty fruit in Bến Tre. Because the fresh fruit, they can bring a lot of money for farmer. 5 years ago, this area just the rice, they are grow the rice. So now the farmer, they are change, they grow the fresh fruit tree like this. The fresh fruit tree we have 8 months.
8 months.
8 months from the flower to the already for shell. You can see like this one. I think this one about 5 months.
5 months old.
5 months old.
So which are the main markets of these fruits? Like where do they go after harvest?
The fresh fruits from the garden after already for sale, they bring to the local market or supermarket for sale. Or if they have the best of fruit, they can sell to the export.
So we can see that Bến Tre is endowed with an incredible nature, but in terms of environment, what is the biggest problem facing the province?
The big problem into here, they have the sea intrusion. Seawater intrusion here. They have the people, they don't have the water for the tree. Yeah, for this tree. You can see like this one.
Yeah.
Ooh. So from that activity in over here, the local people, they don't sell fresh fruit like this in the market. Yeah, the big problem this now. And if they have the water for the tree, they buy the water from another place, and the price is expensive.
So far, what has been done to tackle the problem?
They depend on the weather. If the dry season too late and the sea water reduction too late, and if the rain season coming, that they are finished, big problem like this time.
Okay, I really hope that actions will be taken immediately to resolve this problem, because it's so heartbreaking to see this whole region suffer.
Yeah.
And thank you a lot for your information. Yeah, and I also noticed that you've managed to use a lot of useful words in your speech, such as productivity, specialities, and intrusion, right? And I would like to check the pronunciation of those words with my learning apps, Elsa Speak.
Speciality.
Oh, we got 36 for the first word, but you can try with the second one.
Intrusion.
Intrusion.
Ooh.
I got 97. After being picked from the trees, where will this grapefruit go?
After the people they pick from the tree, they share to the factory, and so now we are go to the factory.
Ooh.
I show you many steps. They are working in the factory. Okay, follow me.
Yeah.
Now, by now, you guys will already have known that each IELTS on the Go host will be given a challenge, and I am wondering, what does this week challenge have to do with the pomelo? So let's find out what Kim has to do.
Hi guys, welcome back to Bến Tre. We've just been to a grapefruit garden, and now we're visiting a factory where all these juicy grapefruits are processed into products before reaching customers. So Chị Vi, can you please show me around this place?
Right, so now I introduce to you many steps from the worker. They are working in the factory here. The first one, the fresh fruit here, they are collect from the garden. Yeah. And the first step, you can see some of the worker, they are trying the many kind of the coconut for the side, like this one. Have a look. The smaller one or the big one.
Yeah.
And after that, they put in the trap like this one. They come to another worker, like over there. In here, another worker, they try again. This small or the big one again. It's a smaller one like this. They can sell to the market or supermarket, local market here. And the better one, they can sell to the airport. And after that, they come to cleaning, like over there. Yeah, cleaning for fresh fruit. Okay, here that they are cleaning fresh fruit. We have 3 steps for cleaning. The first one, they clean with water. And the second one, like over there, they cleaning with chemical. Yeah, and after that, with water again. And then they come to over there, come to dry. And here, they have finished for cleaning.
Yeah.
And after that, you follow me, come to over there. You see some of the workers, they are collect the coconut in the raft. They put the fresh fruit into the raft. Okay, follow me. And the first one, you can see some worker, the lady, they put the name of the shop or the name of the another factory.
Yeah.
And come to over there, they use the plastic, they for cover the fresh fruit. And over here, they put into the bag, the bucket. Yeah. Okay, that's all. They are finished the many steps of the factory here. And now I have mini game for you.
Ooh.
You put the fresh fruit into the wrap, right? Okay.
So that's my challenge today. I'm going to be the worker at this
Yeah.
factory.
And so now
Oh.
you are a worker here.
I even have a uniform.
Yeah.
I'm ready to take on this new career. Yeah. Woo.
Have you look? Good.
Okay. Let's go.
Over there. Let's come to over there. Follow me. Okay, so now we have a little bit change. Yeah, that means you can put like this 20 fresh fruit in 4 minutes.
Hey,
Right?
ready in 4 minutes.
Yes.
Okay. I'm ready.
Okay, you ready now?
So I'm sitting next to the assembly line and more than ready to take on this challenge. Now I'll have to pack 20 grapefruits in 4 minutes.
Okay,
Okay,
so
they're coming, they're coming.
are you ready? Now
Yeah,
we
ready.
are
Woo!
start.
First one.
Two, three.
I never thought it. Two more, only two more. The last one, the last one.
Woo! Right, finish.
Oh,
Very good.
that's a little go.
You think how many minutes you do?
2.5?
2.5?
Yeah.
No.
So how long? How long did it take?
Really, really good. Ding ding.
Oh my god! I finished. Look. I finished this challenge in only less than 2 minutes.
Really good worker. You have new job in Vietnam. Okay, so now finish. How do you feel working?
I'm just so proud. Do you think I can even be working here?
Yeah. And this from the factory here, they have for souvenir for you.
Oh, I did such a good job that I have a present. Cảm ơn anh ạ. Okay, so it's the hidden word for today. I really want to check it with my companion Elsa Speak. Subsequent. Ooh, I got only 65, and if you got a higher score than I do, please screenshot the results and share with us on our fan page IELTS Face Off. And the first 5 persons who send in the results and got the highest scores will receive a full premium account from Elsa for 3 months. So that's a wrap for today's journey. Thank you to be a lot and cảm ơn các cô nhiều for today's precious experience. We visited the grapefruit gardens and we've learned how to process the fruit before they reach the customers. And do you have any words for the viewers? Do you have any recommend for them if they have a chance to visit Bến Tre?
So today I'm really happy. I hope you visit the coconut grapefruit garden in the Bến Tre, and I hope in the future you come back Bến Tre again with a friend, my girlfriend or your family. You enjoy the fresh fruit in Bến Tre.
Okay.
This is the special fruit in Bến Tre.
Okay, so Bến Tre is not just about coconut. It has a lot of specialities.
Yes.
And thank you for watching with us, and please stay tuned because we are still on the go, and we'll see you back next week. Bye.
Okay, so our word of the day is subsequent, which is not a terribly difficult word to pronounce, but if you want to make sure that you absolutely nail it, download the Elsa Speak app and try the dictionary function. You guys can look up the meaning and how it's pronounced, and it gives you instant feedback on how closely you mimic the pronunciation. So give it a try, let us know what you think, and send us a screenshot of your phone so we know that you're progressing. I'm dying to know what adventure awaits our IELTS on the Go host next week, but we'll just have to wait and find out. For now, stay tuned because IELTS Expert is coming up next.
So hello, my name is Johnny, and now I'm on grade 10 on Yên Hòa High School. So my dare to do moments is when I decided to be an internship when I was grade 8. So back to the day when I was grade 8, I was so shy on my first day to being an internship. There are a lot of children smaller than me playing around through the English Center, and I don't know how to tell them and teach them. But days by days, lesson by lessons, I studied a lot. I got many more teaching experiences, and through the next 2 years, I become a very great internship.
Welcome back to IELTS Face Off Nightly, and this is IELTS Expert. So let's welcome back our resident IELTS guru, Mr. Michael Alpa. Hey man.
Hey,
welcome
good to
back.
see you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Take a seat.
Thanks.
All right. All right. So as our season is drawing to a close, you've been here quite a number of times.
Yeah.
What do you feel? How do you feel about the season in general? And
yeah, it's been great. You know, talking to the students that are competing for this trip to Sydney has been great. It's been good getting to know everyone here and seeing these cool videos about the different foods and interesting parts of Vietnam has been cool.
I think the content is pretty heavily skewed towards.
It's usually about food.
It's usually about food. Yeah. So let's look at what the trivia today is going to be about. Let's see what this one is. Oh, very specific. It's speaking part 2. So the question is, in speaking part 2, I have to discuss all of the bullet points in the speaking prompt. Is this true or false? So let's see what the answer is. Okay, so as you can see, the answer is false. All right? You don't have to discuss all of the bullet points. Could you maybe expound on this a little bit?
Right, so you're going to want to answer the main question, obviously. But like you said, this is not necessarily black and white. You're not required to discuss all the bullet points. But in answering the main question, you often will hit all those bullet points anyway.
Yeah.
So the answer is kind of yes and no because you do tend to answer those questions if you're giving a full and complete answer.
Yeah.
If you miss the final one, the final bullet point, that's fine. You're not going to be penalized for it as long as you get to the main idea.
Speaking of the speaking test, now we're going to hear from our Voice of the Week candidate. Let's see who it is.
Today, I'm gonna tell you about my favorite dish in my hometown, Mì Quảng, a must-try delicacy that is made up of succulent noodles. And now, I'm actually right smack dab on Ung Văn Khiêm Street, one of the most packed bypasses brimming with tasty treats in Ho Chi Minh City, including Mì Quảng.
Man, I am salivating.
Yeah.
I know it's one of your favorite.
One of my favorite foods. Yeah,
Mì Quảng.
I gotta visit that place in Ho Chi Minh City.
Okay, so let's see if she can deliver the same level of proficiency and fluency in a speaking test context. Okay, so you ready to challenge her?
Yeah, let's go. Hello, Hien, and welcome to the speaking test. Let's start with part one. Has your favorite color changed as you've grown older?
Yeah, when I was younger, I used to favor cobalt and turquoise. However, fast forward to now, I think I have an affinity for purple and emerald color. Actually, I do not have the foggiest idea about how, age has affected my color preferences, which might be scientifically verifiable. But from my perspective, I guess it is a matter of, maturing.
Now we'll turn to part two. You'll be given a topic and you have 1 minute to prepare. I'd like you to describe a long trip that you made.
Okay, today I'm going to tell you about a long trip of mine, which was kind of an urban escape that I made 3 years ago. Well, right before the trip, my wanderlust was itching for an idyllic beach experience. So I, booked an airline ticket right off my bat, to Nha Trang City, which was hailed as one of the most magnificent coastal cities in central Vietnam. Upon touchdown, the exquisite views just outside the airport blew my mind already. I was so excited that I forgot to draw up an itinerary, but that's not much of a problem. I headed downtown after that and rushed into the crystal clear water, swimming, canoeing, snorkeling, and soaking up the sun under the thatched umbrellas, all of which lasted for a day. And the next 2 days, I rambled across the street markets, to pamper my inner foodie, while I was also in a constant search of an acclaimed restaurant that sold the best bún chả cá in town. Fried fish cake vermicelli soup, to be roughly translated. I literally went to every nook and cranny to look for the place. Hard work paid off. Eventually, I was able to reach the destination, and the dish was far beyond my expectations. And you know what? An absolute delight was an understatement for the dish. Finally, I think it wouldn't have been a long trip without my extended time in Vinpearland. It was a 5-star amusement park. Well, this extravaganza gave me some once-in-a-lifetime experiences, and all in all, I think the entire journey was very therapeutic to me and worth every penny and dime.
Now in part three, let's talk about travel. Do people in your country travel more now than in the past?
Well, I think it is a discernible phenomenon that Vietnamese tourism hits record highs these days. I think in the past, people were more inclined to stay home, to save up money probably, or to just explore the neighborhood at best. However, things have changed considerably in the past couple of decades when traveling is no longer a luxury, but has been considered to be an indispensable part in people's lives. Well, I guess Vietnamese over-tourism in recent times can be partially explained by the increasing access of to budget airlines and the improved incomes, which unequivocally finance more frequent trips.
Thank you very much. That is the end of the speaking test.
Yeah, color me impressed.
Yeah, that was very good. Pretty interesting. Yeah.
She definitely gives me the impression of like a really well-educated, cultured, well-traveled person.
Yeah, she was definitely very knowledgeable about all of the subjects. So even in part one, where she gives a negative answer, where she says no, she's still able to extend that.
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit about how maybe there's a myth or this idea that you should always have positive answers.
A lot of people think that always saying yes to the questions is giving you, it's going to give you like more things to talk about. Like if people think that saying no is going to invariably lead to a dead end, which is obviously not the case, as evidenced by the answer.
Yeah, and if the answer is no, you just need to say why. Just like you would if the answer was yes. You know, if you're asked about a certain type of food or if you do something, and the answer is no, that's fine. Yeah. So you don't necessarily always have to agree with the examiner. You're not going to upset the examiner if they enjoy doing that and you don't. That's fine. But just really, like she did, tell us why.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have the tendency to overcomplicate the idea of extending an answer. You don't have to think too much about it. Sometimes, I think most of the time, actually, it's as simple as saying how and why.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to just say no and then that's it.
Yeah.
So definitely extend the answer, but.
Yeah. What do you think about the vocabulary? Because I think that that is the thing that's going to stand out to most viewers at home. Yeah.
Well, she obviously has a really extensive vocabulary. It was really, really good and impressive to see some of the words she was using. But at the same time, there were some inappropriacies with it. There were some kind of awkward moments with some of the vocabulary that she used. And at times it felt forced. Some sentences she had 3 or 4 or 5 big vocabulary words in there that weren't necessarily appropriate for what she was saying. Yeah. And she could have been a little bit more succinct and just got to the point of what she was saying without really kind of forcing those vocabulary words. Yeah. So I don't want to discourage students from using that vocabulary because you do want to show that off, that you can do that. But it needs to come across in a natural way as well. Yeah. And the more you do, the more likely you are to start making mistakes with it as well. Yeah. So thank you very much, Michael, for your comments. So Hien, congratulations. I think your performance really takes some beating. I think you're going to be a super popular candidate for our Voice of the Year competition, which is going to take place at the end of the season, which is nice because we're on episode 20, all right? So guys, remember you can vote for Hien for our Voice of the Year prize, which is an all-expenses-paid trip to Sydney, where you get to experience Macquarie University and the city of Sydney itself for 1 week, and I think it's a heck of a prize.
Answers to the world's biggest questions are out there. When you connect with another and another, things just... That's you, to the power of us. It's a human equation that puts you at the heart of everything we do. It means knocking down the walls that limit us. So you can talk to an archaeologist, an artist, a radiographer, to look in the past for the answers of tomorrow. It means letting the ideas out of your head so others can shape them and run with them. To make a surfer invisible, to make retirement living decisions simple, to have a fish teach us to cure motor neurone disease. It means together we can make a synthetic yeast help billions. And it means that working with them lets her hear you. Because when you're powered by our collective, you become more than just you. You become you to the power of us. Macquarie University.
Thank you for tuning in to the IELTS Face Off Nightly Show. I particularly enjoyed this episode, especially the part where our very own Khiam went to Bến Tre, because it's a place that I haven't been myself. And that's the great thing about IELTS on the go. It's to live vicariously through our messengers and learn a ton about our very own nation. All right, so thank you again for watching until the very end of this episode. My name is Tung Dang, and I'll see you guys in the next one.